Hey guys, how's it going? I hope everybody's doing really well out there today. This is kind of my first official video of 2024 here on the DB Tech channel. If you're not sure why, I'll have stuff linked in the description where you can get more information about kind of where I've been for almost a month now. To those of you who know and have been in touch, thank you. I do appreciate your support. We're not going to do a tutorial. We're not going to do anything like that in this video. I just wanted to take just a few minutes to talk about kind of what I've been thinking over the past few weeks since I've had a lot of downtime to kind of contemplate life, the universe, and everything. This is all going to be kind of just off the top of my head. I think I've got some notes in there that I can reference, but there's going to be, we're going to keep making videos, right? We're going to keep making tutorials. We're going to keep talking about Docker and Proxmox and Casa OS, and we're going to keep talking about all of that stuff. None of that stuff is going to change. But I think the way that we're going to talk about it may change a bit in a few different ways. The first thing that I want to change considerably, I think, is the types of content, the types of brand deals and sponsorships and that sort of thing that I take on. I was watching an MKBHD video the other day where he was talking about, the rise of YouTubers quitting, retiring, taking a break, that sort of thing. And he makes a reference to kind of an octopus approach. Where originally when you first start creating content here on YouTube, it's all about creativity and finding your voice and finding out how you want to express yourself. And if that works well, then before long you've got companies reaching out to you wanting to have you promote their products or their services or their whatever. And now you're not just a content creator, but now you're also dealing with, relationship management with these different companies, and you're dealing with accounting because of these companies, and you're dealing with all of these additional things that, if you're just a one-person team like I am, you bear the brunt of all of that. So I feel like over the course of the past year or more, if I'm being completely honest, I've been, this is my livelihood. This is how I pay my bills. This is how I make sure that I've got a roof over my head and food in my stomach and my family is taken care of. And you guys have been amazing in your support to make sure that I can do that. But because I've been taking on all of these other deals and promotions and sponsorships and that sort of thing, it's caused a lot of stress, dealing with those things and trying to make sure that those are good while still finding a way to incorporate it into the actual content that I want to produce. I currently have a few videos that I agreed to do prior to the end of the year last year. I've got a Creality K1 Max 3D printer over here that I'm going to make a video about. I've got some mini PCs that I'm going to make videos about. I'm sure that the mini PCs, the small or the single board computers, those videos will still be relevant. But when it comes to promoting a random product or service that isn't necessarily home lab related, I think a lot of that's going to go away, just because I need to have more time and creative energy to focus on the content that you guys are here to see, the home labs, the Docker, the Proxmox, Casa, all of that kind of stuff. Obviously, that's what you're here for, and all of that tertiary stuff is getting in the way of me being able to produce the content that I really want to produce because I'm spending so much time producing this other stuff on the side. So that's kind of the first thing that I think is going to change, is if a product or a service doesn't make sense, I'm just not going to incorporate it. And even since the first of the year, I've turned down a couple dozen opportunities because they just didn't tie in well. So that's kind of the first change. That's where we're just going to leave that, I think. The other thing is that, over the last couple of years, we spent a lot of time originally like on Open Media Vault 5 and then a little bit on, or 5 and then I guess a little bit on 6, but I had issues with 6 that I didn't like. And I made a video, that's like, what are you thinking, Open Media Vault or whatever. But it's just been this constant forward progression. It's been, here's how to do this, here's how to do this, here's how to do this. And it's always been moving forward, possibly at the expense of not taking a step back to better explain the fundamentals of what we're doing and why we're doing it. And I think that's been a failure on my part, again, because of my own stupid monkey brain, thinking that the only way forward is to push through straight ahead. That's wrong. I believe that is wrong. There are times where we need to take a step back and approach things differently, or take a different look at what we're doing and why we're doing it. And I think that's been a failure on my part. Nobody has brought this to my attention. Nobody has called me out on this. But again, looking through my content over the last year or so, I feel like I've just kind of put my head down and I've just kind of pushed forward to put out, a video or two a week without really thinking about the fundamentals. So that kind of gets us into our next part, where I want to kind of start over in a sense. What I want to do is I want to start over. I want to build another little mini home lab, whether it's with a Zima board that I've got up there, or any of the mini PCs or the NUCs or the whatever I've got. And I want to do a fresh full install of Proxmox 8.1. And I want to talk about why we're doing the things we're doing. And I want to talk about, how to set up their new SDNs. And I want to talk about why you might want to do that. I want to go through a full setup of Casa OS and talk about why you might want to use Casa OS and who is Casa OS for. I want to do just a lot of those kind of start to finish, full setups of here's the hardware we're choosing, and here are the different options and why you might choose those different options. Here's going to be our base operating system, if that's applicable. And here's how we're going to install, say, Casa OS on top of that, and what's going on while we're doing that installation. And I want it to be a bit more, like I said, I want to dial it back a little bit. Instead of just like plowing through it at breakneck speed, I want to take more time to explain what we're doing and why. I really feel like that has been, again, a failure on my part, and I want to try to rectify that. I want to try to be a better presenter, a better educator, a better creator, so that my content can be more accessible to more people. And look, this isn't the first time I've tried to do this. I tried it a couple of years ago, and I fell into the same rut again. We installed this and we installed this and we installed this. So now we're just going to plow through and we're just going to talk about containers for the next 18 months. And not everybody is going to have the fundamentals or know which videos to go back and watch first. Even if it's in a playlist, YouTube's not great about promoting playlists natively. Like, hey, this video is part of this playlist. And I hate that. I really feel like they need to do something differently there. But again, my goal is going to be kind of take a step back and go back to some of the fundamentals of why we're choosing certain hardware, why we're choosing certain operating systems, why we're choosing to install this versus that, and those sorts of things. So that's kind of what I'm thinking there. I hope you'll kind of go along with me on that. I know that, a good chunk of my audience that's been around for a long time, this will be, I don't want to use the word beneath you, but your experience will exceed what we're going to be talking about for a while, I think. And that's, I hope you'll indulge me that, because again, I'm trying to become a better creator, presenter, educator, so that more people can understand the hows and whys. So if you find a video that isn't for your liking or whatever, you can give it a thumbs up and move on. You can let it play in the background so I get the view, or, you don't have to watch it, and that's fine. I totally understand. All of this is a big risk that I'm willing to take for the sake of becoming a better creator and a better presenter. And again, I hope you'll indulge me with that a little bit. I recently launched a website based off of a Docker container called Fider. It's Fider, and it's at videovote.dbtech.com. I actually posted it in Discord and on the community tab and Twitter and Facebook and all kinds of different places, and it'll be linked in the description here. But if there's a video topic that you would like to see me create a video about, you can go there, you can put in your email address, you'll get a link so you can log in and participate in the community so that you can suggest video topics, you can vote on video topics, you can have discussions with other people about these video topics. That said, you will need to actually put in an email address, a real email address, because it's going to send you a link so you can log in. Lots of people have been putting in garbage email addresses thinking that was going to get them in. I get all those notifications, and if you don't put in an email address, you can't participate. I'm not going to do anything with your email address. I'm just trying to, in a sense, help democratize the content on the site so that I can see where there may be a topic or something lacking in my presentation, or where there's a piece of education that I can create that will help others understand what's going on in that particular area. So again, that website will be linked in the video description if you want to go over there and make some suggestions or upvote some suggestions, have conversations with others about the suggestions they've made. All of that, again, everything that I can think of, I'll link down in the description. But I think that's it. Like I want to stop with the extraneous ad integrations and product reviews that don't make sense. I want to take a step back and get back to some of the fundamentals and become a better creator and educator. And I want to ask you guys to participate in helping me come up with the content ideas that you guys want to see here on the channel. And I really think that this website that I launched a few days ago will be a great tool to help us all come to some agreements or whatever with that content creation process moving forward. So I guess that's it. I don't know when I'm going to be able to start actually creating these tutorials. I'm working on a ton of stuff in the background while I'm still recovering. You can hear me getting out of breath here. I've been talking for the last 12 minutes and yeah. So anyway, so I'm getting better. And I appreciate all of the support and the outreach that you guys have shown me over the past few weeks. I'm going to continue doing what I've got to do to get better so that we can keep learning together. So I think with all of that said, I am going to go ahead and wrap this up. I do want to thank you guys for everything up to this point. You guys are amazing. I love having you here on my side, and I never could have asked for this. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you guys so much, and I'll talk to you in the next video.